Hello and welcome to the MegaMonsterCast, where today we are talking about episode 10 of Godzilla Singular Point. I'm Nick, with me is Josh.
Hello.
Um, this episode is a lot of dealing with the consequences of a bunch of other episodes. Predominantly last episode, but
Mhm.
we get a few other things too. So we get our chubby cheek Godzilla walking through town.
Oh my god, the face-on view of this thing is terrifying.
Oh, it's so like it doesn't quite work. And we talked about, I think it's the shape of the jaw that does it the most for me.
Yeah, because it's essentially just a giant ball sack with beady little eyes.
hmm we do get it blasting an energy ring at a full-grown Rodan and knocking it out of the sky, which is kind of cool, but
It,
it's
it
a
I
frustrating
kind of like
design.
I do kind of like the concept of what we do here of his atomic blast having the rings, but it
hmm
also doesn't make sense.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you on that one. I think it's a little bit on the weak side in terms of like actual logic for the show.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah. Um, so yeah, this is also the episode that deals with the fallout of Salunga and a little more um multiversey shit. Like, okay, so the
yes.
the Dr. Lee died last episode, right?
I mean, that's what we're led to believe. I mean, we just see the mini Rodans swoop down, and then she gone.
But at the same point in time, it plays it off that when we see her in this episode, it basically nothing happens,
Yeah,
which leads me to believe that at this point the story we're getting with the scientists and the story we're getting with the Jet Jaguar team can't take place in the same universe anymore.
yes,
And potentially, I don't know if any of these specific stories even actually take place in the same universe. Like some things might because they bleed into each other, but other things may not because there's no direct interactions between the stories.
that's how. When I first watched this, after I got done with the last episode, that's pretty much what I came to realize.
Oh, see, now I got your first freeze on my end, which is nice.
No,
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was like half a second.
okay,
Um, but yeah, so we get with the scientists, we get a little bit of the like sending information back in time. Does the question cause the answer? Does the answer cause the question? That sort of thing. I like time travel stories and I like multiverse stories quite a bit, but
hmm
I think there's ways of setting up a story where you eventually get a big revelation on things either are not happening in the order that you're being presented them or they're taking place across a multiverse and you're not necessarily getting each story taking place on the same version of our Earth
hmm
better than this is doing.
yeah. I was wondering this was through this whole time when you would start to realize it.
And I appreciated it with this episode getting like the reveal of, oh hey, this is probably not all taking place on the same Earth. And if anything, it kind of makes some of like the sudden jarring switches from one shot to another shot make more sense because potentially every shot could be taking place on a different Earth. Probably
Yeah.
not because some things do have continuity, but like,
Yeah, and that's again like their whole thing of everything coming down to that singular point, everything's
mhm,
converging,
yep. And then,
everything's in a mess.
yeah, and then ultimately, I would assume every timeline leads to the same ultimate result of Godzilla.
Yep.
That it doesn't matter how things started, they will ultimately all funnel down to the same conclusion, which is what it's been setting up with like all of its imagery of, especially in the last episode where all these different lines converge at the singular point and then spread back out again.
Hmm.
That this specifically has to happen across every universe before anything else can emerge. Which is, again, it's an interesting concept. Like, I like the idea of it. I think if they had wanted to tell that story, they probably should have been cutting some of the other, like, again, the science story is really cool. I said this last episode. The science story is really cool. The Jet Jaguar story is really fun. Having these two stories in the same show doesn't 100% work for me.
Yeah, it's just it dilutes what all the substance that needs to be there.
Mhm. And like that's kind of, again, neither one really does service the other. Like, I get why they can't fold her story into the Jet Jaguar story anymore because they're trying to tell the more high concept sci-fi story with hers. The
Hmm.
problem is again, if you want to do that, why? I'm kind of wondering if the writing team really wanted to tell two different stories and they just decided they were gonna, like, they couldn't decide on which story specifically to tell, so they did both.
I could honestly see that.
Because it feels like it sort of feels like one group of people really wanted to tell the Jet Jaguar story and have like a really on the ground dealing with kaiju story. And the other one wanted this really high concept story about um, the multiverse and Godzilla being this, again, singular point for the multiverse that every universe eventually deals with at the same time in their timeline, Godzilla. That Godzilla is the universal constant, so to speak. And I'm wondering if both factions sort of couldn't necessarily, like, they both wanted to tell these stories because they were afraid they weren't going to get another chance to. Like, oh, I really want to tell this, like, working man dealing with kaiju story. So I have to do it. Oh, well, I really wanted to tell this, like, lofty sci-fi story about Godzilla, so I have to. And it just kind of came down to, well, we'll compromise, we'll do both. We'll try to split the time so half of it is about dealing with like the on the ground stuff, half of it is dealing with the high concept sci-fi. At least that's kind of what it's reading like to me at this point.
I'm
Which,
gonna have to agree with you, but mainly because I didn't hear any of it.
all right, I'm just saying, yeah, that's fair, that's
You
fair.
froze during your speech. I'm so sorry.
Nah, dude, it's cool. I don't care. I was just saying it's like half of this is one group of people really wanting to tell one story, half of it's one group wanting to tell another story, and neither one could guarantee that they would get their chance after this.
Yeah.
So they ultimately just kind of, well, we'll compromise. We'll do half of both so we can make sure that everybody gets their story told.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. This was their one shot, one opportunity.
Yep.
The only problem is they could not get Mom Spaghetti.
I mean, that would just be asking for two singular points at this point.
honestly, like if I feel like they could have maybe made this work if they got in the second season,
Hmm.
possibly. But
I
like we
think
said,
so.
it's just too much. It's too much information. Too much. I mean, obviously, the whole like how we complained that we got the same information multiple times through multiple episodes. Obviously, it was because we were seeing it from different universes and
Hmm.
whatnot. It's just I don't know. We've said it time and time again.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I realized with this episode is we're probably getting the same thing over and over again just because we're seeing the various ways it happened,
Mm-hmm.
which is a cool idea, but they started doing that so early and we get the reveal so late that it doesn't really feel earned. Or like a cool way of doing that, if you really wanted to do something like that, would have been instead have like the information given to us one way, but have it cut so as it's being given to us, we see like part of the scene play out in like a train station, part of the scene plays out um in like this fancy dinner party, part of the scene plays out at like show us the one scene across many different places instead of showing us the
Mm-hmm.
same scene over and over again or
Yeah,
slight variations on it.
that would have been nice.
Because then right away you would have gotten, oh, okay, so something's going on where we're seeing it from
Yeah, like
multiple perspectives.
yeah, because I mean, like the last episode, the final shot, we get this amazing like scenery of them in the boat,
Hmm.
and all the dust is like a huge nuclear explosive cloud,
Hmm.
and the team's just staring into it. We get no resolution here. We just immediately see them on the road.
Yep. And again, I think like I kind of get they wanted to try to bury the lead on the multiverse story, so they had us experience that like learning about the things several different times, so it feels weird, but you can't pick up on it right away. But it instead comes across as kind of lazy.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think it would have just been more interesting, and you could have saved more time for other things if you had just shot like all the scenes with the like about like the high concept where like every minute or so the setting changes to show that it's changing. I don't know. That's just me though.
You should have been on the writing staff.
I mean,
That's all
like
I'm
again,
saying.
there's a lot that's good in this. It's just the execution is a little lacking.
Yeah, I mean that's also why I said like we have to get to the halfway point of this just for it to like start picking up and start being better.
Hmm.
And it's because we start finally getting some fucking answers.
Hmm. And like it really takes us. And this is episode 10, and finally the Jet Jaguar team is getting involved in the high concept part of the story.
Y- Yeah,
Like,
because
eh,
they get kidnapped.
yeah. And again, that's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world to have like some characters get brought in on the actual like big storyline parts until closer to the end. The issue is there's just so many characters and it spins its wheels so much that it's
Yeah,
frustrating.
like yeah, like I've like we've seen these characters so many times, but there's I forgot the fat man with with the weird mustache
Mhm.
was a part of this
Yeah,
until this episode.
I'm gonna be honest. I had forgotten that he existed.
But then he's like, boom, shows up.
Yep.
Like he was never even gone.
Yeah, and again, you could have consolidated some of those characters.
Like we didn't need two different maniac spies
Hmm.
or agents, whatever they were. We've got four different scientists.
Yep. Again, it's just kind of all a little on the weak side, you know. I
It
don't know.
really is.
Like, I'm just a little frustrated by it. We also get the return of Salunga, which like that's got to
This bitch been on roids, so
yeah, which like I'm happy that came back because I like this thing's design. Again, I was talking with Josh earlier before we started recording that Salunga just looks like it belongs in the video game Rampage.
or the movie Rampage.
Yeah, but I
Not coming to you anytime soon, and it's as a review from us.
no no I'm just a little like Salunga's got to be like the big threat to Godzilla, right? Like they've got to fight at the end, right? Really, that
He's
surprises me
not
with
the
how
big
much.
threat.
Well, I mean, like not necessarily big, but like I was expecting that Salunga and Godzilla would fight, considering they're putting
Yeah,
so much work into developing this design and like having it be a threat.
yeah. I mean, there's a meeting.
I mean, again, I was just expecting this was going to be like because Salunga just keeps not dying, even though they keep killing it. So like my thought process was, okay, well, this is going to be like the thing, like it's going to be those two coming in contact with each other is the singular point. Like the singular point was going to be like them fighting and causing some sort of big disaster.
No,
Okay.
it's close. You're close.
Okay. I mean, again, I'll see. There's okay. I mean, whatever. I also when we see Godzilla towards the end of the episode, it does that fucking goo thing again to catch a rocket. Which again, cool idea. Should have just been Hedorah doing all this stuff.
Yeah, and then, oh my god, we get this. We get such a good like introduction to his final form.
Hmm.
We just see the spines, the tail, and he just starts lifting up, and then we get this new goofy face.
Yeah. Which again, it's the jaw. I feel like a narrower head would work really well with this design
Yeah,
because it looks good. Like it looks really good. It just like a slightly narrower head or maybe bigger eyes just to balance things out.
it's it's the fact that the eyes are like right here on him.
Hmm. Which like bigger eyes would maybe work or a smaller, narrower head so they don't feel as disproportionately small, you know?
Yeah, and just push the eyes out just a little bit.
Yeah. But I don't know. Again, a lot works with this design, and we get our first like big atomic breath scene, which is cool. Which
Yes, I
I
was
like
gonna
it.
ask, how'd you actually felt about this with the like rings shooting out and then an actual beam?
I actually kind of like this. I think it's kind of sick looking.
There is a figure for this exact setup here
I
too.
believe that. That is really cool. Um, I think it's a really well designed one. Anyway
The
though,
one
our
thing
episode.
I really enjoyed about it is the fact that it's not like blowing anything up; it's straight up just melting anything it touches.
Yep. Yeah. Episode ends with our Godzilla melting the city, and then set to like a red light, just walking through the destruction. Again,
We'll
this
see
should
if
have
it'll.
happened earlier in the show, you know?
Yeah, no, it would have been great if we could have actually gotten some of this Godzilla
Hmm.
and a show called Godzilla.
Yeah,
It's like, oh my god, it's like watching fucking Skull Island. I don't know if you've watched it, but
I have.
that show was infuriating.
I didn't hate that movie. I think that movie's passable.
No, not the movie, the show,
Oh, okay.
the animated
No,
show.
I have not seen the animated show yet.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's don't expect King Kong until the final two episodes.
Okay, lovely. Anyway though, any final thoughts before we call this one?
No, that was pretty much it for me.
Okay.
It's just the fact that we're finally getting some fucking Godzilla, and it's still going to be a disappointment.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyway, tune in next time where we talk about episode 11. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye now.